Hello, everyone. Welcome to Maro Yoga. I'm Maro, and in this video, I'd like to guide you through a variety of different ways to sit for your meditation practice. It's important that we sit well so that we don't have to deal with physical discomfort. Physical discomfort is a thing in a meditation practice, and it can be very distracting and frustrating, and it can prevent us from finding our Zen, let's call it. So I'm going to show you a variety of different ways that you can sit, whether it's in a chair, on the floor, on a cushion. I'll show you different ways to do that. We'll straddle the bolster and perhaps a stack of blocks, and then even positions that you can lie down in. If you're dealing with chronic pain and sitting upright is challenging for you, you can always lie down. So we'll go through all of those options. The main thing I'd like for you to remember, two things I'd like for you to remember, is we're looking for that neutral-ish pelvis. So we want the hips to be higher than the knees, okay, to the best of your abilities. If you're sitting like this, you probably want to find a different position to sit in, like straddling the bolster or the blocks, which I'll show you later. So hips higher than the knees, and then we want to invite the spine to be tall and have its natural curves, right? And everything is stacked so that it's self-supported, so that you're not trying to hold yourself up. So ideally, the head is over the rib cage is over the pelvis, and you're able to sit upright without any discomfort. All right, let's dive into all the different ways that you can sit. Sitting in a chair for your meditation is always an option. And I know you have chairs in your house. So find one that's comfortable enough. You can grab blocks or a stack of books, encyclopedias. If your feet don't touch the floor, you can place them under your feet if you're tiny like me. And then you can even grab a pillow to place behind you if you're not able to sit all the way back. Now, we're not leaning into the pillow, okay? We're just using it to help us sit upright. So you're kind of just bringing the backing of the chair closer to you. And then if you feel like you need to elevate the hips, because we talked about the hips being higher than the knees, you can roll up a blanket or a towel and sit on it so that you can find a little height to help get the hips higher than the knees. So check in here, see how this feels. Meditation in a chair. Now let's go over the different ways that you can sit on the floor. I highly recommend sitting on a cushion or a bolster. Sitting directly on the floor tucks the tailbone, rounds the lower back. And remember, we want to support the natural curves of the spine. We want everything to be stacked and find that neutral-ish pelvis. Okay, so sitting on a cushion that's relatively thick, you'll pull the flesh back so you can sit on your sits bones. And it's great to place blocks or even cushions, pillows under the knees just to let them rest on something. You could also sit more like this, like you would sit in a Zafu pillow, but this might be uncomfortable on the knees, just allowing the shins to touch the floor. So if you don't like this option, you'll sit with something under the knees while still encouraging the hips to be a little higher than the knees, okay? And then you check in here, you sit tall, you sense into your pelvis and your rib cage, and make sure everything is stacked. And then relax the low ribs down. Sometimes they like to flare out. And if the shoulders become tired from just resting the hands like this on the thighs, you can also grab another cushion, place it like this, and just rest the arms like this in your lap. This is a nice way to just give some comfort to the shoulders. So here is an option for you. Another option is straddling the bolster, which really helps if you have tight hamstrings and you feel like your knees are really lifted when you're sitting down. You can straddle cushions or your yoga bolster and sit like this. This really helps get the pelvis in that neutral-ish position so that you can honor the natural curves of the spine and let your torso be self-supported so you can focus on your meditation object. So here's another way to sit. Another option is to straddle a stack of blocks, or perhaps you have encyclopedias in the house. Remember those really thick, big books that we used to buy back in the 90s? So you can stack them up. But as you know this is a really hard surface to lie on. So it helps to put a blanket on top, a blanket or maybe two, so that you can offer some padding. And this really feels good because this is higher than that cushion. So you're straddling the blocks or the stack of books. And for me personally, mainly because I'm tiny and I have short legs, it feels like my legs are just hanging. So it's really comfortable to sit like this. Neutralish pelvis again, everything is stacked, head over the ribs, ribs over the pelvis, and I feel really comfortable to be here and meditate. So give it a try. Another option is to lie down for your meditation, but keep in mind you run the risk of falling asleep. So I would reserve this for situations where you are dealing with a lot of physical pain, chronic pain, and it's extremely difficult for you to find a comfortable upright seated position. So in the event that you have a lot of physical discomfort, lying down is an option. You can do this by placing a bolster under the knees. This gives a little relief on the low back. And I would recommend lying down on a hard surface like the mat or maybe a carpet. Probably wouldn't do it in bed because then you're telling your brain it's time to fall asleep. So, and then I have my folded blanket under my head, but it's not too high up. It's only like an inch off the ground. So we want to honor the curves of the spine. Again, we don't want a pillow to crank up our head. So just keep that in mind. And then allow yourself to settle into this shape. Another way to lie down is in constructive rest. The feet are wider than the hips and you let the knees fall in towards each other. This is another great low back release, and your hands can be by your sides or perhaps you place them on your belly. So here is another option for lying down. Okay, everyone, so let's meditate together. Find your seat. We'll only be here for a few minutes, whether it's in a chair or you're sitting on a cushion on the floor. I'm going to do the straddling of the blocks here. So, or perhaps you're lying down. So find your seat and please sit well. And feel free to close your eyes, or you can just soften your gaze. And let's begin by hearing the sounds as we drop into this moment. Hear the sounds in your environment. And then feel your body as you sit. Let's make this the main meditation object here, just the physical sensations of sitting. So allowing the legs and the pelvis to feel grounded and heavy, even if you're lying down. And then invite length through the spine. Feel as though you have this eye bag on the crown of the head, or maybe like a small bag of beans, and you're pressing the crown of the head into it. So you're creating length that way, rather than lifting the ribs or your chest up. So the legs and the pelvis are sending roots down as the tree of your spine lengthens upward. Stacking the head over the ribs over the pelvis, and feeling the hips higher than the knees. Allowing yourself to feel self-supported and with this neutral spine. Relax the shoulders. Invite softness to the face, the eyes, your forehead. Separate the lower row of teeth from the upper row so that the jaw is unclenched. And now just feel yourself. Feel yourself sitting. Try to prioritize physical sensations over thoughts for just the next 30 seconds here. Just feeling yourself in the position that you've chosen. Know that you can change your position. You can always change how you sit for meditation. Remember to honor your body and its needs. We want to enjoy this practice. We want to be able to come back to it. Gently bring your palms together, hands at heart. Feel really good about showing up to learn today, to practice with me, to find the best way to sit for your meditation practice. May your practice continue. Feel free to check out the links in the description below for this how-to meditation series. Until next time.